Hey guys, so back at it again with another tier list. I have to make this pretty quick because I have a road trip that I need to start getting ready for. Also, I haven't gotten ready yet, as you can tell by my messy hair. So, here we go. Uh, Last night tier list. We don't have a lot of toys to go through, which is why I kind of chose this one for today. But real quick, gonna explain the tiers. Where scalper's price, pay whatever they're selling it for. Higher price, pay a little bit more. No more than the $100, depending on the size scale. Get it if you can afford it. If you can afford it, get it. If you can't afford it, you're not missing out on too much. Pass. You can more than likely just pass on this, and you won't miss out on too much. But get it if you really, really want it. The Plastic Addict. These are the worst of the worst. Do not get these. All right. Starting off, we have the Last Night Bumblebee. Probably the best deluxe Bumblebee we've gotten in the entire line so far. No QC issues as far as I've been able to. As far as I've read, there's no known QC issues with this guy. Also, this is just a really good design, especially compared to what we had in the movie before this one. God, that Age of Extinction Bumblebee was so ugly. But we'll move on from that. This is pretty good. It's just a re-release, but that's a pretty good mold to re-release. So I'd pay no more than $40 for it. But if you can get it for $30 or $35, yeah, definitely grab it. Um, Drift. This is just a re-release of the Last Night Drift, just with a better paint job. The issue is that mold is not that great. The helicopter drift is definitely better than this guy. And my fear is whenever they do an Age of Extinction drift for the Bugatti, or what they will make instead of the Bugatti, since they don't have the license for it anymore, that they're just going to re-release the Age of Extinction drift, which is even worse of a mold because that blue paint job was so ugly. But yeah, it's all right. Get it if you can afford it. It's becoming pretty rare, but I haven't seen anyone selling this for extremely high prices. Hot Rod is in the running for probably best deluxe in the entire line. This is probably the closest we've ever gotten to giving deluxe the Dark of the Moon Sideswipe a run for its money. This, however, I think might surpass it because this has a much better paint job than that figure does. What this is going to come down to is quality control issues and the transformation, which from what I've seen is not near as bad as you would think for a figure that at this size is this clean. So moving on, World War II Bumblebee. We're already halfway through. I need to start slowing down. So I'm gonna go a little bit into detail for this one. So this was on. I think I mentioned in my last video. This was on a specific YouTuber's top 10 worst um, Studio Series figures of all time list. Now, I do agree that this is on that list. However, I don't agree with where he put it. He put it as number three. This is not the third worst. This is You could make an argument for this being in the bottom two, either the 10 spot or the 9 spot. But in my opinion, it's not near as bad as he thought it was. He mentions the inaccurate vehicle mode, but when you look at the movie itself, he changes vehicle modes like between cuts. Like they use two different cars for the same character there. Um, and then inaccurate paint job. Yeah, it's he's supposed to be gray. He's green. The backpack I'm not too worried about just because once again he switched vehicle modes. There's no real way to work with that, so they did what they could with what they had. Um, the issue is that it wasn't that great. So moving on, we have Hot Rod, World War II Hot Rod, who I think is better than Bumblebee. I think the paint job on him makes it to where he's good enough to go into the tier above. Now, he has all the same issues, don't get me wrong. It's just that the paint job does enough to get him out of the pass category. He's not as good as Drift. But the paint job overall, that gray is accurate to the movie. I wish there were a few. I wish if they were going. So they did the orange highlights on the arms and his face, but they didn't do it anywhere else. So I wish they had done a little bit more of the orange highlights just to break up all the mass of gray and just black. So that's an issue, but other than that, this is pretty okay. He has all the same articulation, so nothing below the knee joint, hip joint, shoulders, ball jointed shoulders, elbows, and then I think he might have a wrist. I'm not for sure on that one. I need to get him out of the box and see. Cogman. This is a re-release of the Cogman figure. And unfortunately, this is the figure where he just barely doesn't make it here. The QC issues on this guy, from what I've heard, are atrociously bad. Like he's so loose. Like you shake him and parts fall off, from what I've heard. But I don't own this figure, so I can't attest to that personally. However, if what I have heard is true, this is definitely a plastic addict victim. He looks fine in car mode, and I do like that he's an actual headmaster. The issue is that it doesn't make sense in the Studio Series line because we never see that in the movie itself. But, you know, it was his original gimmick with the toy, and it was in the script originally, but they cut it last minute. So, but yeah, he looks fine. He has a good paint job. It's just those QC issues definitely. He would be here if he didn't have QC issues, just because he is a re-release of a figure that, let's be honest, really I don't think needed to exist, but because of those QC issues, definitely gets put in the plastic addict victim. Just barely though. It's one thing is keeping him from being here, but all right. Am I being too harsh? Am I being too generous? What do I think? He's definitely staying there. Am I being a little too generous or harsh with these guys? I think we'll put Hot Rod on pass. The paint job does do so much, but then again, all the same issues exist here. Drift at least has enough articulation to make up for the fact that he is a re-release, and the paint job isn't improved over the original. Cogman, I might be being a bit harsh on the guy. Sorry, can't talk today, but I do think if I am being a bit harsh, it's not enough to get him out of here. I do think those QC issues are so widespread and prone to happening that I don't think he goes any higher than this right here. So that is my list. What do you guys think? If you like it, tell me. If you don't like it, tell me. But with that being said, I'm going to end it here. I will see you guys some other time. Guys, I need your help. Okay, so the algorithm is the #1 enemy of all YouTube channels. Any YouTube channel that's trying to start up or isn't pre-established is going to fail because of the algorithm. So what I need you to do two things. 1, I need you to hit like. 2, I need you to subscribe. If you don't do either of those things, this channel is not going to be able to stay afloat for very long. So please, like, subscribe, and if you really like me, you might leave a comment while you're at it. Thank you very much.